play soon. So there's a few bits and bobs going on over here as well. So lots going on. I'm still getting it set up for live record, I believe. Yeah, but no worries, we're not. I'm expecting a few more people on anyway. I'm not sure if Roger's joining us. What's going on? He's been dashing about all day today. It's getting late for him, you know. It's 5 o'clock over here. We're sleeping. Okay, we're good to go. Fantastic. Okay, welcome everybody. Just a quick reminder that we are recording live on the live stream. I put the live stream up in our Telegram channel, so hopefully you guys are spreading the word that these calls are up and running, so our community can see what we're doing as we're moving forward to our launch, our proposed no-go go date. My role here is to facilitate. If I could ask, when you first speak, I'm Jim from Telos UK. When you first speak, just for live stream, if you can just say your name and your organisation, that'd be really, really helpful for people on the calls. My role here is to just go through the takeaways from the last agenda to make sure we haven't missed anything. So I'll start with that, why people are putting their names into the agenda. So again, thanks to Phil for his diligent typing. I'm so pleased you're there doing that, Phil. That's fantastic. So we've got the first takeaway is more law professionals needed in the Telos arbitration forums. I think there's been a message from Douglas on Slack as well about that. So I think we've been asked to try and do our best to see if we can get any more people involved in that section. So that'll be a great thing if you can have a look at. We have added the arbitration for working group. If anyone wants to jump on that and help us out with that, because that's going to be a key thing moving forward. Then we have a work proposal group. I think we've done that. Adding arbitration working group to bring all the professionals. Well, I've just said that. So again, all the takeaways I believe have been done and are underway. And we were asked to review and critique the Telos Prop Producer infrastructure requirements document, which has actually gone live on Medium. I haven't checked any progress on comments on that, but I'm sure other people are. And I think it's a big thanks to Azad and the team on the is it the security, GRC, whatever group put that together. Thanks to Jerry for his input on that, and everybody else. Can't name everybody because I think we did a real great job on that. And that one's out to the community. So I shall move us on, if that's okay with everybody. And we haven't got a massive agenda today, but as ever, first thing after the roll call is for Douglas to come on and just give us a heads up from the weekly report, and I see he's done some nice annotation this week, so thanks for that, Douglas.
Thank you, Jim. Hi, Douglas Torn from GoodBlock. Okay, well, I'm going to power through a few things that are new that we may not have hit everybody's awareness this week. It was a holiday week yesterday for us in the U.S. and in Canada, I believe. So here's a few things. First, that we have a new proposal for how to actually organize the Telos Foundation and how to disperse the Telos Foundation voting tokens. As a little reminder, we voted some weeks ago to make that completely transparent. So we need a process. The process for actually dispersing them is going to be based on essentially come off of the slices model that Rob and James and everybody is working so hard on. And essentially, I encourage everybody to look at it because this document actually talks more about proposes a structure for the Telos Foundation to move forward in terms of an elected board that selects an elected executive director and a RAM administrator director. But essentially, we're going to look at the way that slices happen and distribute tokens that way. Moving on. There's also a new proposal for how we should deal with lost and compromised keys. We have a key recovery group, working group. I've had a chance to talk to a number of people who have actually been through the process. There are a couple of groups in existence right now, and so we're going to leverage their experience, and they are going to act as ombudsmen to help people through that issue. So that document has been posted in that group, and let's take a look at both of these. I'm hoping that we can move forward to have some kind of ratification vote on those next week's call after a week of improving those documents. Really big event for us last week is that we launched the community rewards pool and a special hashtag exchange outreach hashtag campaign, which is fantastic. I think we're seeing that there might be a little bit of cleanup that we can do to improve those things, but generally we wanted to get that out there for everybody as quickly as possible. So if you go to telosfoundation.io/rewards, there's a link to those, and people can sign up for those. For anybody watching, just to underscore, if that sign up prospect is not perfect yet, don't worry, just jump in. We will still circle back and make it good. But the rules you need are there, and nobody should wait to start taking part in that just for sign up. We will come back and get the sign up. Jim, you mentioned the arbitration. We do have an arbitration group now. Some really good work has been happening already from Adam at EOS Detroit and from Brett at EOS the World to bring in. I think we have 7 or 8 possible professional attorneys, people, other really strong legal professionals in the world from the U.S. so far, and we want to encourage other countries as well to start bringing us some legal people. This is not at all supposed to be just one country, but we're very grateful to the people we have engaged, and so we're moving forward with that. I do have some documents that are, I know, slow in coming around arbitration, and I'll get those out as soon as I can. It's complex, but I apologize for my delay. And then I just wanted to call out the fact that I did a quick look, and this group, the Telos launch group, has over 90 members now. It's kind of amazing to me. Almost all of those are actually active members who are working and making contributions, on a regular basis. And I would not be surprised at all if next week when we do this, we have 100. So thanks everybody. I think we can feel really good about that. I'm going to move on from there. Everything else can be handled in the working group updates. I think it's been a great weekend. I think we have another great week ahead.
I couldn't find my mute button then for a minute. That was like a nightmare. Nightmare for me. Can't find your mute button. Anyway, okay. So the first one, if anyone hasn't seen one of these calls before, we basically go through the working groups and get the working groups, if they've got anything to say, to talk to the community, and they're on the agenda. So the first one is the arbitration group, but I think Douglas has just covered that really in his opening speech there. So I'm going to hand over to, Rob or Adam or whoever's on the call regarding. Oh, Rob's just appeared. By magic. I love the way you did that. He slid in there. That's superb. I shall shut up and let you carry on, Rob. No worries. Okay, thanks for that, Rob. That just sounds amazing. I've had a message through regarding no sound on the live stream. I don't know whether we can check that or whether that's the case or whether that's an old message, but I've just seen it in the corner of my eye on one of my screens. Yeah, please, if that's okay. We'll carry on anyway. Thanks for that, Rob. They're just moving up and down, so that's probably enough. Okay, no worries. Thank you. My only quick query on that, Rob, is that are we completely happy and clear about the chairs and the co-chairs for the groups? I take it you've got all that information? Okay, I mean, I think the heads up on all of this for us is just to keep an eye on Slack for anything to help Rob with anything that he's doing. If you need some information to sort of get it back to him as soon as we can. So even though it's going to the evening here, I'll keep an eye on Slack to see if there's anything on the European side. So I'm sure you guys will do the same as well. Okay, I hesitate to say, but that's been a whole issue without a contribution from Douglas. So I'm going to swiftly move on. Is that going to be okay? That looks like it. So anybody else want to talk about that? I'm not seeing anything on my pictures. Okay, well that must be pretty sound. And if we'll keep an eye on Slack, then we'll do that. Community rewards pool. There's a notion there. Does anybody want to come in on that? Have we got anybody on the call? I've got silence, although there's something there. Okay. I'm going to skip down now to, I've got data outreach. We haven't got anything in the agenda today. I don't know if anybody wants to speak about that. Development, Peter, or anybody?
Jim, can you hear me? This is Jan.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Jan. Yeah, only just, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say a few words about DAPS outreach. Thanks to Azad, we've had a good contact with Unico. They're basically allowing digital collectibles to be made and to be traded. And they've suggested that we make a collectible also for the launch and give that to all the Genesis, everyone who gets Genesis coins, which may be an interesting idea and a nice app that we can indeed include. So we're continuing those discussions. In general, just in a few words, that tools are quite interested indeed, of course, to help Telos and to onboard that. For dApps, many of them first want to see that when we're up and running, that the RAM and CPU are under control, are indeed better managed, or that we have more adoption. So that's, in summary, is what we're finding, that we'll continue to be in contact with dApps.
Thanks for that, Jan. I do check the channel in Slack quite a lot, and there's a lot going on in there, and I do mean to come on the calls on that one. But obviously, it's a really keen thing for us to keep an eye on, because we need to be supporting that channel as much as we can. Okay, so development, Peter, anything, or anybody that wants to come on that one? Exchange outreach, Beth and Roger. Beth's got a hand up. Excellent, Beth. Great. Off you go.
I'll pop in and say something since Roger's not here. It's pretty much the same process as last week. We're just really digging into the outreach and the applications. Things are moving along. I think we're probably very close to being able to announce a new relationship, but that's just a tease for you guys to stay tuned for more. Otherwise, it's kind of just full speed ahead. We did pick up one additional helper for this group, but I'd still love a couple extra people that have some time that want to dedicate to this work group. That's all.
Thanks for that, Beth. And again, I think the sentiment regarding help on the work group is probably echoed by most work groups. But I know, you know, without the exchange, then you know, this is a key group that we all need to be on. That's really, really important. I've actually put one in for external comms for Beth and Roger, because I've just asked for weekly wins, because that's something that Beth's been putting in the Slack channel. So I just wanted to flag that up, so people from the from your various groups can help Beth out and the team. You know, as we need as much information out there in the community as we can. There's a lot going on, and we've got a lot going on, and we're the best in the world. We need to shout about it as often as we can. I don't think we can shout too much. So if we can get as many weekly wins as we can. Okay then, governance. Adam, are you going to have a go at this? I mean, I don't want to go on it, but I've been there. So if you take it away after you go.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So we actually had a really good week last week. We reviewed the worker proposal and ratify amend outlines that Douglas put together. Those were shorter. We also finished the first review of Reg Producer earlier on in the week. And right now we're basically working through rewriting the operating agreement. So the first pass that we did on that was intent. So it was just more or less making comments and making sure everybody was on the same page with what was going on. This one, we're actually doing a heavy rewrite of it to some extent. A lot of what's being added is definitions of certain things like proxy, members, all those sorts of things that kind of the EOS Constitution doesn't have right now. So, I mean, that's the general update. I think we're hoping to have the first rewrite done of the network operating agreement done by the end of the week. And so we'll release that to the larger working group first, and then that will be something that we'll want to get out relatively quickly to the general public after that for comment, because I believe that it's going to go through more of a heavy community feedback session rather than just the Telos working group. And that's all I got. Douglas has his hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. I just wanted to say this has been, I really appreciated all the help from everybody. I would encourage anyone who wants to get in at the early stage to join us. This is intended to be open, whether you are in the governance channel or working group or not. I mean, they're all fluid groups, right? The more eyes we get on this early, the better. But I really want to thank everybody who's working on this: Adam, Azad, Jim, Maurice Stevens from Telos Voyager. If I've forgotten your name, it doesn't mean that Mark is there almost always. If I've forgotten your name, it doesn't mean I've forgotten your contribution. It just skipped my mind this second. But it's not fun work for everybody, and so I encourage you to join us on this not fun work. But I feel the process has really helped these documents immensely, and they're very long and complex, which while not good in and of itself, it means that they're going to better clarify for everybody what it is that we're trying to how this actually operates in the small details. And I think that's going to be important. So I wanted to thank everybody who's taking part in that, and encourage anybody else who can to come and join us at this early stage.
Okay, thanks for that, Douglas. Anybody else want to comment on that? Anyone from the governance group? I will say that you don't have to be a governance expert to be on there. I'm proof of that. It's a matter of just sort of helping out and putting things where we can. So we've now got, because obviously when you look elsewhere, governance is a very big issue. We're now up to 3 calls a week with that group. So if you check it out in the calendar, I think they're normally 1600 UTC, Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So if anyone can spare some time to help us out with that, then that would be fantastic. Reading out aloud is a skill that you could really be helpful with that. So that would be great. Yes, Mark?
Yeah, to your point about not having to be a governance expert, it's actually great to have as many diverse perspectives as possible on this, because ultimately this affects, Telos constituents and token holders. So if you have any interest in contributing, it would be greatly appreciated, because this is really just about sharing how these documents land for you so that we can make sure that the intent of these documents is clear. So any contributions are appreciated and no expertise is required.
Thank you, Mark. As ever, that was said a lot better than me. So that's the sentiment I was trying to put across. So thank you for that. Douglas.
Yeah, and with all this, just to clarify, there will be multiple rounds of this. Once we've gone through it, anyone who chooses to join us, it will also go to the group in general. We've always already posted all these documents for the public to comment, and we're going to keep bringing that in. But again, we would like as many eyes on this as we can. All of us are smarter than any of us, and these are important, right? And probably what's going to happen is people are going to, just by their nature of not being like 10 big, broad, short sentences about, what we think about humanity, but actually more like a software licensing agreement, people are going to skip over them like a software licensing agreement. So, yeah, please. We will keep bringing these back up for everyone. So you will have additional opportunities to discuss them, but earlier is always better.
Okay, thanks for that, Douglas. I'm going to circle back now to Community Rewards. Apologies for getting your name wrong. Is it Munachi? Do you want to just come in on that, please? You're on mute. You're off mute.
Hello. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. One of the times you Munachi, Telos, Africa. Okay, yeah. So we have been working on the community reward pool. Really, to be very honest, things have been a little slow over the past couple of weeks, but I believe it's because more serious work has been done. It's being done on the other platforms. So right now, I think things have started picking up steam. We have, I think the website is officially up. I see Beth has posted the link, right? So for us now, it's just about promoting the rewards to people, so they know that, hey, Telos is going to launch in a couple of weeks. This is how I can participate. This is how I can benefit from it. We really worked on how the rewards should be. So everybody that does anything, I believe, can benefit from the rewards pool based on whatever you can do. So if you're a developer, you want to do an Explorer, or you are good with graphics, there's always something to do to benefit from Telos, and it's really something that's really interesting, right? So I believe I have I raised a couple of issues on the group, which Douglas, I think, had some comments about. I don't know whether I should run it through here so we can get feedback from everybody. Douglas, what do you think? About the stellar stuff I raised, or do we just leave that, or do we push it out to the community? Douglas.
Sorry. So the question, which should we push what out into the community?
The issue with some parts of the US about Stellar, that I told you Stellar had these issues with KYC, where they require you to do KYC.
Right. So Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that, Munachi. Munachi had certain questions about whether we are required to do any KYC for people to whom we distribute tokens. Obviously, we have not received any kind of legal ruling on that. Munachi pointed out that Stellar Lumens XLM was doing some KYC on, and there were certain regions they were not able to distribute to. Distributing these tokens to people who are community rewards pool winners is really no different than distributing them to anyone who's in the snapshot. Essentially, we are creating accounts and giving tokens to people all over the world based on snapshots. We are not asking for KYC. And one of the reasons for that, the rationale for that, first is these have absolutely no value at the time that they're being given. There's no market for them, and so at the time they're being granted, there is no value or such negligible value at that moment that it doesn't really constitute any kind of currency. Secondly, the Telos, there's no identifiable organization, centralized group giving that value, right? It's being written to the blockchain, but by everyone involved across all these countries. There is unlike Stellar Lumens in that case, there's a clear value. It's a very valuable token and project at the moment they give the tokens, and it's also run by a very identifiable, much more centralized group than us. So we're relying on those definitions that we don't need to look at KYC, but we haven't done any. Everyone should look this up for themselves in regards to their own jurisdiction. We don't have any legal advice regarding that. Personally, I think I have no problem moving forward.
All right, no problem then. Okay, can I continue then?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Secondly, the second issue is because I believe that a lot of people are going to participate in this Telos rewards pool. So I believe if we leave the evaluation and appraisal of the rewards to the last minute, we may get congested at the 1 week to the end, and we may not be able to, let's say, properly distribute, and could lead to a lot of rushing. So what I'm proposing is, let us get the forms out. So immediately you participate in the bounty. You just go to the website, you fill out the information, then you log it. On our own back end, we get it in the Google form, Google Sheet rather. Then we need to, we need to deliberate on who will pass. What critical amount of people will evaluate this reward before it's finally given out. Say, for instance, if someone participates in, say, maybe the video content creation, he creates it, he puts out the link, it gets above maybe 150, right? So I think we shouldn't leave it to just me or people in the group to evaluate that this person gets this. Let at least 3-4 people say, okay, yeah, I verify that he is valid. Then maybe Douglas, Beth, and 2 other people can say, okay, yes, this is valid. Then equals to give out the reward. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So basically, I don't want it to be a little bit centralized based on one person's information, and also we should start it immediately. Yeah. Continue.
Okay.
Douglas.
I would say these are good conversations to have. I would suggest that we push this off back into the group. Munachi, you've alerted people, and that's good. There is a concern because many of the rewards are escalated based on how many views somebody gets. I think it's makes most sense to take a snapshot of those at the time of launch, right? So if we were actually to evaluate some of those things, especially with video content like you talk about, there could be 20 views now, but 200 views by the time we launch, and we just simply have to keep reevaluating those. So why don't we look at those in the group, take that offline, and look more. And yeah, absolutely. The more we can get done for people, the better. But I think the goal so far was, as I understand your group, is to just get stuff out there as soon as possible so people could start participating. So maybe there'll be more to report on that next week.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Douglas. Do you want to come back on anything, or are you okay?
Okay. I think I'm fine. So, yeah, I'm fine. So we are going to be creating the graphics this week for the community rewards pool, which we'll be pushing out to the community, so everybody can know and start participating. Right now, the publicity for the rewards pool is kind of blue, but this week we hope to get some graphics out and some information as well, right? So it can kickstart officially.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. No problem. Right, I'm going to, unless there's anybody else want to comment on that, I can't see anybody. Hands, no. Brilliant. I mean, again, let's keep checking the Slack channels and keep working these things up. I've got one here for the meetings. I put in Slack the possibility of moving this call back an hour, just to accommodate some of our friends or cousins across the water. I put that up in Slack. I have no feedback from it, so I'm going to leave it there in Slack to see if anybody wants to join in the conversation. We'll leave it here for now, but I'll just stop throwing it out there to see if we want to go back an hour to make it more palatable for everybody. But unless I'm hearing anybody saying they really want to move it, we'll keep it where it is. So
I would love to move it. It would help everybody on the U.S. West Coast, U.S. and Canadian West Coast.
So I'm proposing that we drop it back an hour. Is anybody? I'm opening it up for discussion, I suppose. I've got one thumbs up. Does anybody violently object to that? I'm guessing.
Hold on a second. You're proposing to move this back an hour, so 1 hour earlier?
Later.
But later, yeah, that's fine with me.
So 1600 UTC from 1500 from the current 1500 UTC.
Yeah. Just give you guys an extra hour in bed, is what I was thinking.
There's a disproportionate number of people on Pacific time that I think would sing your praises.
Okay, so I'm going to propose that I do that in the next in the slot down further down. I'm going to say we'll change that time. Phil, if you can make a note of that, I'd really appreciate it. It's not going to vote or anything, not that we need to vote on it. But if anyone's got any real issues with it, then just try them up in the meetings channel, and we'll have a frank discussion there. But other than that, I'll say we're going to drop it back or forward an hour, depending on how you want to phrase that. So can I move on to Jay, which is network maintenance? I see we've got Jerry on the call. I don't know who wants to lead on that one.
Jerry Huff from BlindBlocArt. We got the auto rotation is working. There was a minor bug in the reporting. I think that's been fixed. We're testing the waiting voting. We have new account creation that has a minor bug right now. It's not working, but I created an account last week. And there's a new faucet where you can fund them. And that's it.
As ever, Jerry does his sweeping statements of fantastic things happening really, really quickly, and that's brilliant. These are really important things. I know the rotation was a big deal for you guys, and that's fantastic. That's working. Anybody else want to chip in on what Jerry said there? We all look very happy. You've done it again, Jerry. You're my favourite. So then, where are we now? Just about that gone down. On boarding, Johnny from Discover Telos did DM me earlier to say that the guide is there. There's nothing much particularly for him to say other than that, but we know that that's sort of moving on, and there's a quick start guide there. He said he wasn't able to make the call, but there wasn't anything other than what's on the channels. So unless anybody wants to particularly jump in on that, we'll move over that one.
I'll just chime in briefly, Jim. So yeah, we've created this guide, which is intended for folks to land on once they've been onboarded, to provide them with resources to find their way in Slack and to the various external resources. So if everybody could just take a quick look at it, it's a really short document, and provide their feedback, that'd be great, because we want to get this out as part of the onboarding pipeline. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, Mark. I'm glad you're here to put that in. So what I've got, we haven't got anything on security and CRG, as that isn't on the call. And to be honest, I think we're covering a lot of that. It's been covered in the governance channels as well. But again, thanks for the work that we've done on that so far. Unless there's anyone who wants to spring up about that, it would be really handy if we could get some more people on that call. If you check the calendar, I can't remember when it is off the top of my head, but that would be really helpful. Marketing, have we got anybody who wants to talk on that? I don't think CJ's on the call. Does anybody want to? Yeah, that's great, Beth. Thank you.
Yes, CJ isn't on the call this morning. I'm not actually a chair on that team, but since I don't see any from that team on this call right now, I'll just pop in. I think the only thing I can speak to is I know that we pushed out their exchange hashtag campaign over the last couple of days. This is different than the community rewards campaign. This is a very specific hashtag campaign tied to, we've gotten a lot of requests from people to say, hey, how can I help get my exchange to pay attention? So this is kind of a response to that, an opportunity for people to, in the community, to directly kind of reach out to their exchanges to make sure they're showing their individual community support to get their exchanges to pay more attention where it's needed. So that runs for about 2 weeks, and it slowly started pushing out within the last couple of days. But that's kind of all I can contribute to this group right now.
Okay, thank you for that. That's obviously a really important message. Right, where have we got to? Douglas, Telos Foundation, do you want to talk to that, or did you cover that in the opening comment?
Yeah, just very briefly, I did cover most of that. The document that we're looking at is in the Telos Foundation working group in Slack. If you do, many people, I find we don't all have those, so if you could just look at the channels and actually try to find that one, it's there. The document is there. We'll convert it into a Google Doc so people can comment. It discusses both how we propose the Telos Foundation actually operates, and then how we would distribute token or disperse tokens amongst not only this group in the initial group, but also larger earners in the community rewards pool group. So please take a look. It would be really good. My goal would be that next week we could actually have done some modifications and some improvements, and then vote to move forward with that. There's two reasons we want to have a working document that has some validity behind it. The first is that there are certain proposals that we have promised people that can best be funded and most quickly be funded through grants of the Telos Foundation. So, for example, we want to make sure that if there's monies needed to be dispersed to jumpstart the arbitration forum, for example, or to underwrite the first 1 million free accounts that we promised, or a few other things along these lines, funding dust accounts that were left off the EOS snapshot that we'd like to fund. There's a number of proposals that we would like to move more quickly than we could with the worker proposal system, even though that will be in place from the beginning. That's like a month-long voting process. The Telos Foundation, one of the whole reasons for its being is so we can vote for these things. And so my hope is that once that's ratified, then we will have a very good sense who the probable voters would be, and so that we can give some confidence to everybody who might be asking, how do we know these things are actually going to happen? Especially, for example, the first million free new accounts. We could actually, once we know who's the probable voters are, which is most of the people here, we can have people pledge to support certain things, initiatives, and then people will be able to see, okay, these people who are almost certainly going to be the voters and are public voters have publicly pledged to support these in overwhelming numbers, and so we can have confidence that these go forward. That's really the main reason. The secondary reason for having a little better understanding of how the Telos Foundation will work moving forward is so that we can start working on things like RAM and start working on the continuing efforts like marketing and outreach to dApps and exchanges that will persist after this group happily dissipates, right? As Rob at EOS Detroit suggested, the rest of this group kind of needs to go away as quickly as possible after activation. But certain work does need to go on with some continuity, so we don't lose a step. So anyway, that's why my hope would be that we can have a lot of good discussion over this week, and then moving forward into an actual live document. Unlike some of the other things that we've talked about, unlike some of the other governance documents, this is that we typically post publicly before talking about right away, so we can get as much community involvement as possible. I would like this one to be something that just lives in the group for 1 week, and then we can make some edits, some improvements. That's just mainly because I've proposed some things and we haven't really just had much discussion on yet, and I'd like us to have a more solid internal feeling about that. Please, everyone on this call is almost certainly going to be a part of a voting member of the Telos Foundation. Let's engage now with this. It affects all of us and affects the whole network. So anyway, I'll stop on that.
Okay, thank you, Douglas. Again, let's keep an eye on the Slack channels and work that up as much as you can. Give Douglas some support on that. I'm sure we'll turn it into a Google Doc and get it on the drive in the right place so people can dive in there. We seem to be getting really good at that. And I think that's really important that we don't not relying on people to drop links in, that you can get to the right directories, etc. I haven't got anything in translations, but we've got Chen on the call, or Beth. Does anybody want to talk on translations? Or are we all okay on that at the moment? Seems to be pretty cool. Yeah, okay. The next thing we've got is the RAM group. And Douglas has made a comment here, so I'm going to have to hand to Douglas again if he wants to.
Okay, thank you, Jim. I'll try and be shorter this time. RAM is also a group, right? We came out strong with some really good tools proposed for how we were going to manage RAM and help keep it affordable and reduce speculation. That is never a wholly solved issue, right? We need as many tools as possible there. We have some exciting people who are talking about coming on and joining us there. We hope they will ultimately decide to do so. I think we'll know within a few days. But regardless of whether anyone else joins us or not, there are additional things that we can be talking about RAM, and those are both governance and technical and general conversation. So I'd love to see a little more chatter in the RAM group if we can. It's important. It's frankly what we're hearing, I think, to underscore what Jan said in his report, and what we're all hearing is the dApps are kind of waiting to see if we will actually deliver on our promise of a working network, affordable RAM, things like that. There's no reason for them to, there's no incentive for them to jump in ahead of our launch. It's not unexpected that we have a large number waiting on the sidelines, and one of the things they're waiting on the sidelines for is to see what happens with the RAM price. So if that's what you're hearing, Jan, that's what I'm hearing. So let's make sure we have as many arrows in the quiver as possible to make this a good process for our network.
Yeah, thanks, Doc. One thing to add, they do really appreciate it that we do reach out to them actively, because they've often heard of Telos, don't exactly know what it is, they're really interested. So it's a great opportunity to tell them about all the things that will be better. So we will continue it nevertheless. If anyone sees dApps on EOS or on Ether, which they like or which they know are having problems, then please let us know, and we will reach out to them. Thanks.
Yes, Mark.
I wonder if there's value in creating a one page that's targeted at these specific demographics, like an exchange-focused page, a developer-focused page, that we amalgamate all the information that currently resides across multiple documents into one place where they can kind of quickly and succinctly get the gist of what the advantages of Telos are. What do you guys think about that? Just a one-pager off the website, /dApps/exchanges, where we just say, go here, and we constantly redirect them here with all our social media marketing efforts. Because it would be easy enough to extract that information from all the documents that we have. I'm happy to participate in that effort.
Well, that's fantastic. You're getting a lot of thumbs up on the call, so I don't need to have to ask if anyone agrees with that or not, because they clearly do. So that'll be something that we can work towards. Philip, I could ask you to write that in the takeaways to try and motivate us to get some action in the Slack groups to make that happen. I'm sure now I've heard that, I'll chase Douglas, and we will have a go at trying to help everybody to make that happen. So, I mean, getting stuff on the website is clearly important, and that sounds like a great idea. So we'll check this out. Thank you very much. Yes, Adam.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you guys, whoever runs the website, are you guys running like a CRM or anything where we're collecting it? Because that would just make it really easy to hit them back up.
I don't know that we are yet. That's a great idea. It's been catch up on the website.
Yeah, totally. No, I get it.
We're really trying to get things in as so the big push has been to get like the community rewards thing, where it's all putting out fires. We would love to have all these things. And we will, and we should. And also, by the way, that's a call for help as well. We didn't talk about, we kind of passed over development, but and which is great. But the one thing always is more help in development. Whether we can use somebody who's C++ experts. We can definitely use some React experts to help us with that. There's plenty to do, and it's all kind of going through Justin in our office right now, and he's a great guy. But I know that there's more React programmers in this group than just him. So yeah, let's get these things online for sure. Great idea, Mark. I love that.
Can we just agree to talk about this in external comms, as long as Beth, or if you're okay with that? Is that the place to have these conversations? I think it makes the most sense without lighting up a new channel.
Makes sense. Yeah, good with you, Beth? Okay, cool.
Yeah, Beth seems happy with that, so we'll do that. So if we make a note that that's where we're going to put all this stuff, and that'd be great. Okay, the last item is standing item, which is the Telos launch prerequisites. I've been practicing. I've taken the document link off because I know that I had a quick conversation with James from GoodBlock this morning, and he is, I believe, working up either a page or he's working up some things on there. And he said he couldn't make the call today, and that's absolutely fine. But I think it's watch his space, and I think we'll have some developments on that. But I'm going to leave it there because it is a standing item, and hopefully as we get nearer our first no-go launch suggestion, whatever we're going to call it, vote, then that's going to be a bigger part of the call. So that's there.
I think that's the current fire that Justin is trying to put out on the website is do a few more circling back, doing a few more improvements on community rewards so that people can put we were just talking about this on Thursday, put everything into one page and maybe get some clarity and validation back to people that they've actually done that, been brought in. There is actually a CRM for that. And so the next thing we're trying to do is get that checklist in format so everyone can always see that it's going on and where we stand on it. And Jim, you are saying brilliant things on mute.
Yeah, I know. I just realised that I couldn't find the mute button again. I should be better at that, really. Okay, anybody else on the chip in? We've got the confirmation of the next date of the meeting, which is Tuesday, 11th of September. And I'm going to suggest that 1700 UTC. Is that correct? Have I got that time right now?
No, it's 16. It's already been fixed.
1600.
1600 UTC. Thank you for that. You see, you're typing ahead of me while I'm doing.
Sorry, I fixed it.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Jerry. You're a star. Okay, then. Thanks very much, everybody. Unless there's anything else that somebody wants to say, Beth, or your hand was there? No? Okay.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, it's a cheerio. Yeah. Cheerio, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.